Dan, I would like to take this moment to publicly thank you for introducing me to Tallah.
You're very welcome. I can't take all the credit. I saw someone post a link on a Facebook group I'm in, and I was like, yeah, I'll have a look at that. And yeah, after listening to 2 of their songs, I was like, I think Alex and James will like this.
Mate, I'd heard of them a bit. I come from a drum background, and Mike Portnoy is very renowned. When he was the drummer of Dream Theater, drummed with Avenged on Nightmare, and just technically is fantastic. And I was aware of Tallah from the fact that it's his son Max drumming for them. And I'd heard the name kind of floated around for a while, but never just delved into it. And I remember when you sent it to me and seeing like popped up like, oh, you sent me a Tallah song. Okay, let me check it out. Of being like, okay, oh, that's Max Portnoy's band. It gave me a little bit more intrigue. And I can't remember what song it was you sent me.
I think
first.
it was No One Should Read This.
I think it would have been No One Should Read This. Yeah. Oh man, the new metal sound that they've got, like modernized for me, is fantastic. And like, I hear so much Slipknot in them and Korn, and with them being some of my favourite bands, like musically, this just hits a spot for me.
You can hear the new metal influence in there. They sound a lot like older bands, like Korn and Slipknot, like you just mentioned, but they also sound like their own band at the same time, like a new thing. I'd almost label them new hardcore or something like that.
And what's nice is like there's been so many bands in the past that have shied away from calling themselves new metal. I've seen so many, but like even Slipknot have done that, and they've just said, "Oh, we're not new metal, we're not a genre or whatever." But the fact that like I've seen like interviews with them where they're just like they're open to like, yeah, we are new metal, we like that. Like that's quite funny to see, and
it's coming back.
And I fucking love new metal. I think it's so good. Cold Chamber, Mudvayne, give me all of it. And I think one thing that really does separate it from new metal of kind of the 90s and 2000s is the vocalist.
It's kind of like when they've written these songs, and when it's come to him laying down some vocals, they've gone, so what vocal technique are you going to use on this one then, Justin? And he's just gone, I'll go for all of them.
But that's it. Like, I've gone into an absolute rabbit hole after I started listening to them, like watching interviews, watching some like the interviews from specifically like when they're recording the album, and like the background of the band and everything. And that's it. And then I've delved into rabbit holes just watching Justin stuff on YouTube. I don't know how much you both have looked into the concept of the album as well.
It's about a story of this kid that basically snaps and kills his mum, isn't it? Or something like that.
There's more to it.
There's obviously more to it, but yeah, I haven't looked too much into the story.
There's a bit more going on. I don't want to give any spoilers, but he does cut his nub off.
I mean, it's absolutely twisted, but it's like an engaging story. And for me, I've always been quite fascinated how lyricists will try and tell a story through concept albums. And I feel like there's only been a few. No, there's only been like... There are 2 concept albums to me before that have stood out, and that's Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater.
Oh my God.
No, but it's a concept album that stands out, and don't lie, I've heard you singing Dream Theater songs from that album. And then for me, it's the other one that stands out a little bit more is, like I said before, House of Golden Bones by Stone Sour. And then as they've kind of released a YouTube series going through all the different ideas, concepts, the storyline behind the whole album, I've just engaged with it so much more, and I feel like I've got a different way that I listen to the songs now, which to me is, it takes it to another level at that point. You connect to the music just ever so slightly more. And I recommend anyone just to go out, watch the YouTube series they've put out on the Tallah channel of Justin explaining it all. There's a lot more to it than... I feel like people should go out and find it, because I don't want to spoil it. And the way he explains it, there's just so many weird twists and turns, and it is absolutely messed up as well.
But I also think it's one of those things that you can enjoy it without having to know the story, and without going down that rabbit hole. You can just listen to it.
Yeah, that's something else I was about to say. The album's like 50 minutes long or something, but every song brings something different in.
It's true, because you have No One Should Read This right at the start, and it just kind of like pounds away. Kind of flows beautifully into Overconfidence, and you get to songs like The Silo and We Are the Sad, and you just get like a whole different vibe from there. I want to shout out one song in particular, which is Too Quick to Grieve, because there's a point where they just have a guitar riff ready for a breakdown, and it gives like a ride cymbal kind of call that you know is going to be the biggest wall of death you're ever going to be in.
It really feels like this band are just having loads of fun writing music and just doing whatever they like. Like they'll find a guitar tone or come up with a riff or a breakdown or something. It's like, yeah, we'll just stick that here, and then we'll make it last about 2 minutes, and then we'll just make it go slower.
But the way, just to point this out as well, the fact that this is their debut album. Like, you could be talking like bands down the line years, once they've kind of got an established sound as well, that have built some notoriety. But no, this is their debut album. They've come off one EP beforehand.
I think if these guys get picked up by the right kind of people, they've already got connections within music. They're on the Knotfest radar now as well. If they get picked up by the right people and get pushed out by the right promoters, they're going to be huge. So if anyone is listening, takes anything away from this podcast, go and listen to Tallah. So in a few years' time, when they're headlining big festivals and doing big venues and stuff, you can say that you were there at the start.
You can thank us.
Yeah.